Hello, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. In this particular episode, I'd like to talk a little bit about a disturbing trend that ICE has been doing that has gotten worse since Trump apparently has given the thumbs up and has not enforced essentially several areas of the law in regards to aliens coming over to the United States, primarily to apply for asylum and primarily to use what is in the U.S. law to escape persecution from their home country. So a lot of this started with, Trump's policies on separating families and children and so forth. And I've heard for years how ICE agents will lie to the foreign nationals in order to get them to sign something. And I've heard it in so many different clients or families of clients that have no idea what anyone else said, but their stories are similar, that it most likely would be true. For example, the typical story is that, an ICE agent will go to a foreign national in detention, tell them they have no chance of success, that they'll be there for years, that it doesn't matter what anybody says, there's no way of fighting their case, and all they have to do is sign the document that they're holding and everything will be fine and fixed. Well, the reality is an ICE agent has no idea, in reality, what it takes to successfully run a deportation case in order to win a deportation case. An ICE agent does not know the forms of relief that the law allows the foreign national to apply for, doesn't know how to run an asylum case, withholding of removal, convention against torture, all the types of relief that a foreign national can apply for. Similarly, an ICE agent does not know or understand the process of appealing a negative decision to the Board of Immigration Appeals or eventually going to a petition for review, if necessary, to the Circuit Court of Appeals. Doesn't know about motions to reopen, motions to reconsider. There's a whole plethora of items that the ICE agent just is unaware. All they know is that they have a foreign national in detention, and their number one job is to try to get them to sign a voluntary deportation paper so that they can get them out of detention, back to their country, and put a little mark on their desk of another person that was deported. So the number one item I can offer for you is whatever the ICE agent wants you to sign, don't sign. Okay, you are not required under the law to sign any paper whatsoever that an ICE agent puts in front of you. And many times you're not going to understand what the ICE agent is saying. And if you you don't have to be mean about it or rude, you can just say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to sign that right now. I need to speak with my immigration attorney. And then when we get involved, of course, we notify ICE, and then their games end. Okay, because they know that we know the law and that we can do what we can to help you, to represent you in immigration court, to represent you in bond hearings, to represent you in credible, fair interviews, to determine that what you qualify for, what you don't qualify for, to try to do bond redetermination hearings, to get you bonded out, and so forth. So, when an ICE agent's only item that he or she is trying to do is to get you deported, you have to keep in mind that whatever you sign is not to help you. It is not to assist you. An ICE agent is not your friend. They are only trying to get you deported. And if you sign the paper saying that you agree to voluntary deportation, you're also agreeing not to see a judge, not to apply for what you can apply for, not to take any of your rights as you have them, but just to simply be deported. Now, if you went through all the trouble to come to the U.S. because of persecution in your home country, you clearly would not sign a document saying, forget it, you just want to go back. Okay. And whatever the ICE agent tells you in regards to how you have no hope and you'll be there for 20 years and whatever, they're just trying to intimidate you and to manipulate you in which to sign the voluntary deportation. Now, notice that's not a voluntary departure. A voluntary departure would be given by the judge, where, assuming you left in a timely manner, you would not have any deportation bar and you could find different ways of getting back to the US legally in a much quicker time period. A voluntary deportation is the same exact thing as if the judge ordered deportation. You'll have the deportation bar, you'll have it on your record, and while yes, there are ways of fighting it, and yes, there are ways of trying to get that shortened, why would you agree to that to go back to your home country where you're being persecuted? So, for example, there's just heard of a real sad case where the father from Honduras and his daughter were being threatened with their lives. One reason is because his ex-wife had married the head of the opposition, and they were making very credible threats. And when they came to the U.S., of course, the ICE agent had told him that he just wants to take his daughter to give her clean, fresh clothes. And since they were freezing after wet clothes, trying to cross the Rio Grande River, the father agreed. Well, what the ICE agents were really doing is they were separating the family. Okay, and they were putting the daughter in some other facility. Later, when an ICE agent came to him, the ICE agent had told him that if he signs the paper, that they will reunite him and his daughter, and then they can go to court and fight their case. Well, lo and behold, what he was really signing was his own voluntary deportation paper. As I had discussed earlier, they deported him back to Honduras. They did not reunite him with his daughter. They just flat out lied and manipulated him to sign the document. So I'm giving you this example because this example is a typical example. I'm not saying that all ICE agents lie, but I suspect a very significant percentage of them are abusing their power, and they're getting the okay, essentially, from the President of the United States, who wants everything possible to be done to deport as many people as possible. So we have to fight legally in order to preserve the rights and the law and the due process that is afforded by the U.S. Constitution, by the laws of the Immigration and Nationality Act, by Congress that passed these laws, and by the former presidents who signed them into law. So they don't just disappear, and they exist, and you have a right to fight, and you have a right to apply for asylum, withholding of removal, and convention against torture. So if in the end, the bottom line is you are presented with a paper from ICE to sign, don't sign it, and fight your case in front of a judge, and of course get an immigration attorney who knows what they're doing to be able to help you. Okay, more on the coming videos. If you like this one, click like, subscribe. See you next week.